Hi guys, welcome back to Crafting with Cardboard. I'm Mr. Waxman and I'll be showing you how to make some fun easy crafts while we're all staying home. Last week we began working on our cardboard cities. I hope you had fun making your buildings and got a little creative with the designs and the details. Here's some pictures that two friends sent me of the amazing artwork that they started. Isn't it great? Awesome job, you two. Send me or your classroom teacher pictures of your cardboard so that I can put it on the next episode. Today, I'll be showing you how to make a house with a little peaked roof, kind of like this. And I'll be showing you how to make a little cardboard car, kind of like this. So let's get started. For this step, you'll need a table, some cardboard, scissors, glue, rubber bands, and something to write with. Just like last time, I'm going to be moving a little faster the steps, so feel free to pause, rewind, stop the video at any time to make sure that you can finish this step on your own time, okay? So, like I said earlier, today I'm going to show you how to make a house with a little peaked roof. A peak means a point, like on the top of a mountain. Sometimes they see here the top of a mountain called a mountain peak, all right? Now this house, instead of having a square bottom, is actually going to be a rectangle, which means that two of the sides are shorter and two of the sides are longer. The sides that are opposite each other are the same length. So I'm going to be using a ruler to make sure that my sides are the right length. If you don't have a ruler or a tape measure at home, ask your parent to help you measure it out in a way that you can have two short sides and two long sides. Alright, so here's my piece of cardboard. I'm going to measure it out. It is about 10 inches long with a little extra for that folded part that we did last time. I'll show you how to do that again. But this is about 10 inches long, so I'm going to make two of my sides 2 inches, so that'll have 4, and then two of my sides 3 inches, so I'll have 6, and 6 plus 4 equals 10. Alright, so my first side is going to be 2 inches. 1, 2, and I'm going to mark it right there. My next side will be, this is the long side, 3 inches. So I'm going to mark that. 2 plus 3 equals 5. Alright, now I'm going to do another short side. 5 plus 2 is 7, so I'm marking it at 7 inches. And last, I'm going to do my last long side, which is 3 inches. 7 plus 3 equals 10. So I'm right there. Next, I'm going to fold them right along these lines that I just drew. Remember, you can use the edge of the table to help fold straight lines. All right. So, because the roof of your house is pointed, the sides also need to be pointed. You'll notice that the cardboard comes up to a point right here, and that's the long side. So, I'm going to look at my piece of cardboard here. I have my two short sides and my two long sides. I'm going to cut these to a point so that I can have a pointed roof later. So I'm going to look at my first long side, which is this one right here. I'll even draw some lines to make it easier to see. And I want to cut this into a triangle. So I'm just going to pick a point in the middle on the top right here, and I'm just going to draw a line down, kind of diagonal. It does not have to be perfect. This is an art, not a science. So as long as you're fairly close, okay? And then you'll notice that the short sides are actually, the short sides are actually lower, okay? So I can make this part lower as well, and you're going to understand how that works when I start cutting it, okay? This is another short wall right here, so I'm going to do a line right here, that's lower, and then I'm going to do that same peaked roof thing on this last long 3-inch side. I'm going to pick a point right there. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, just try to make it look as close to the first one as possible. And that little extra piece can also be cut short. Alright, now cut along these lines. Okay, so now your piece of cardboard should look like this. 2 points and 2 short sides with that little extra piece for gluing, okay? Then when you put it all together, it's already starting to look like the house. Okay, so now we glue it. And this is where you can use your rubber bands to hold it into place. If you don't have them, that's all right. You can just hold it with your hands. Sometimes I like to use a blow dryer to hurry up the process as well as looking good. All right, while we wait for that to dry, I can start working on the roof. This roof is just a long piece of cardboard that I've folded right down the middle and glued on top. This looks nice. Use a piece of this. This does not have to be perfect. I'm not measuring this out. I'm just kind of cutting a piece of cardboard that looks like it's the right size. Just like I did here. I'm going to fold this piece down the middle. Sometimes it's easy if you can do something with the cardboard that's called scoring. And this can be a little unsafe, so make sure you're being careful. If you just kind of draw a line down the middle of the cardboard with the scissors, cut it a little bit, it'll be easier to fold down that line as well. Okay? And then that fits right on top there. And you can glue that down as well by getting glue on these sides. Alright, and then I'm actually going to turn this upside down so that the glue is all going to where it needs to, that peaked roof part, okay? And this is going to take a little while to dry. Once again, you can use those rubber bands if you happen to have them to kind of hold it in place so that you don't have to. Whoops! To hold it in place so that you don't have to with your hands. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. And when you're done, you can cut some holes in it for a door. You can add some windows. You can add some, make a little chimney decoration, whatever you want, all right? But that's basically how to make that. All right. While that dries, let's go visit Sam in the workshop and see how his table's coming along. Hi, Sam.
Hey, David.
Last time we were here, you showed us a table that you were working on and a cool design you made for it on the computer. Yeah. So what have you done since then?
So since then, I actually finished making the table. It looks a little bit different now. I changed the design from the one that I showed you guys on the computer last time. So finished building the table. I stained the wood and I put a coat of what's called polyurethane on top to give it this like shiny waterproof finish here. And this is what we've got.
That's awesome. Look at that. Now this is a little different from the design you showed us before.
Yep.
Do you ever get upset or a little bummed out when you're working on a project and you realize halfway through that you need to make a change?
No, I actually really like that things change in the process of making something. Because, you know, I make these drawings ahead of time, and I think I know what I want, but then once I start working with the material, once I start seeing how things fit together, you know, it brings up different ideas, and most of the time I end up taking things in a different direction than where I started.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that about artwork too.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. All right. So while we were down with Sam, hopefully your house finished drying, and you'll have something that looks something kind of like this. And at this point, you can decorate this however you want. I'm going to trust you guys to get creative and make your house or building or whatever it is very much your own. So we're going to set this aside and move on to our next craft, which is a little cardboard car for your city, something kind of like this, okay? The first step when you get these is to grab your cardboard, your scissors, and everything else you're gonna need. Rubber bands, and we'll get the toothpicks later. So first step is to trace the sides of the car, draw the sides of the car. This is kind of like a truck. This is just kind of like a regular sedan. I'm gonna do one that looks kind of like this, but you guys can look up your favorite car online and make it look however you want. This is just a little bit simpler. So I'm just going to take my piece of cardboard and I'm going to draw two car shapes that are identical, which means they look exactly the same. Okay? There's one. And then I'm actually, even to make sure it looks just the same, I'm going to cut this out and then trace it. So it's exactly the same as the other side of the car. right, so I cut out my first car shape. Pretty simple, pretty easy. And I'm going to trace it so that my next side looks exactly the same. Alright, let's just double check. Looking good. Alright, so now I have the sides of my car. Next I'm going to need the bottom, okay? Just the bottom part right here. One thing to consider if you are going to use the toothpicks, and I'll explain that later, but basically the toothpicks allow us to make wheels that turn. If you don't have any toothpicks or sticks around the house, that's fine, you can just glue the wheels on. But if you are going to use the toothpicks so that you can make your wheels turn, you need to make sure that the bottom is thinner, it's like less wide than the toothpick itself. So here's mine. And pull these out. You got to make sure that the toothpick can stick out on both sides, so the bottom needs to actually be smaller than the toothpick, if that makes sense. So I'm going to get a piece of cardboard, make sure that this part that I'm about to cut out is thinner than the toothpick, so I'm holding the toothpick against the cardboard here. I'm going to just move it over, and then draw a line kind of, you know, again, less than the width of the toothpick. And then I'm going to cut that out. Make sure it's the same length as the car, almost. Get a little bit of that off there. Alright. Now I have the bottom and the sides to my car. Next, I am obviously going to need a roof. The roof will be the same width as this piece, right? It'll be the same width across, but it'll be a little bit shorter, and that'll be, you know, about the length of these two pieces when I put together, okay? So I'm not measuring, I'm not being super precise, I'm just kind of feeling it out as I go. This is what I want you guys to be doing too. I want you to be figuring this out a little bit on your own, because that's how you learn. So I need a piece about that wide. Trace that. Cut it out. Alright, now I've got the bottom, two sides, and the roof. Alright, we're going to glue these together and then work on the next part once it is dry, because that part's a little bit trickier, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my bottom on the bottom. I'm going to do 2 lines of glue right along the top. You can see the glue there, right along the sides. Oh, whoopsies. A little more. And then I'm going to take these 2 pieces, make sure I got the right sides, yep, and hold them down. If you have a hot glue gun at home, I would recommend using that instead, because it takes a lot less time to dry. Or you can use a blow dryer, or you can just watch something while this is drying. Alright, so once those are on, they should kind of stand up on their own. And if they do, then you can glue the top on, and that'll keep it from falling over a little more. So once again, I'm going to take glue, put it right along the top, and then put my roof on. Doesn't have to be super pretty. I can add some cool decorations later. Right now, we're just trying to make sure it is staying together. All right, while we wait for that to dry, I have something special for you guys. Alright, so now the sides and top of your car are all dry. All that's left is to add pieces on the hood, it's the front, and the trunk in the back, and some wheels. So once again, I'm not going to measure anything out too precisely. It can be a little wonky, it doesn't have to be perfect, so I'm just going to cut some pieces to glue on here, 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 and here, okay? Because I still want, this part could just be open because it's like the windshield. Alright, so now I have the front and back of the car all covered up. It's fine if I work on the rest while that dries. It might fall off a little bit, but try to keep it still. You can wait for the next step. I'm not going to, just for the purposes of the video. So now the last step is to add the wheels. These toothpicks are going to be like the axles, which in a car is like the rod that the wheels kind of spin on, and that lets them move. So we are going to take 2 toothpicks and just right through the cardboard on the bottom. I'm just going to kind of shove them through this cardboard until they come out on the other side, like that. See? Oops. Parts are falling off, that's alright. Like I said, you might want to wait for this to dry. I'm not gonna, just because I'm making this video. But you probably should, it'll be easier to do the wheels that way. Put my other toothpick through. Once again, these are the axle. And now I'm going to cut out the wheels. You can find something circular, like a bottle cap. I have these little pieces of wood. I'm just going to use these to trace out my wheels and then cut them out. Okay, now I have my 4 wheels, and I'm going to stick the toothpicks through to make the wheels. I'm going to use an extra toothpick just because it's easier to make the hole first. So I'm just going to make a hole in each of these first. Be very careful not to get your fingers. 3, 4. And then you can slide these onto the wheels, onto the axles. Remember those toothpicks that we put in along the bottom before. Just slide the wheel on. Make sure the unglued part isn't falling off. And boom. We got a car with wheels, and they should spin. If you don't have toothpicks, that's fine. You don't need to make a car with wheels that spin. You can just kind of glue them onto the side on their own, and that's totally fine too. But still falling apart a little bit. That's all right. Gonna wait for this to dry before I play with it a little more. But that's it. And then after that, you can add more decorations. You can add some lights or some people inside the car, or color it, or do whatever you want to make it your own. But that's pretty much it. There's a car. Oh, and you might want to cut off the sharp parts of the toothpicks before, especially before you let a younger sibling or anybody play with these, okay? Because you do not want anybody hurting themselves with that sharp point. That's pretty much it. So let's go put it in our city. All right. Not too bad. Look at that. Driving around with all of his other friends. Okay, thanks for stopping by. Keep crafting and know that I miss you all and can't wait to see you next time.
Bye.